Okie dokes, hi. It's raining, so hopefully you can hear. We'll find out before I send it. Hopefully it goes well. Now, I'm not reading off my notes here. This is just going to be straight history, my history. Okay, so we're talking about demons and we're talking about black magic. Now, I had a terrible experience and Jesus came into my life and saved me. I was able to get myself back home, and I came back into my country. Now, one of the first things that happened, extremely bright light. I was just like radiant at that time and very powerful and full of divine feminine energies. So I'd like to start. So my sister, who is an extremely dark witch, had a fiance, and this fiance was a Reiki master who had a shop and stuff like this, and they were also running a drug business. Quite a big, extensive one, half of the North Island. And I knew nothing about it. I was just so innocent, okay? And this man had these quite round rings, gold, silver, and copper, twined, the three twined, and he had three of them. And one day I was at my sister's house and he got them out, and he asked me to stand in them, and I stood in them, and he lifted the rings right up over my body, turned two of them around, one was still at the ground, and then brought them back down to the ground, okay? Now, I had no idea what that was, but what it was he was stealing my energy. So he stole some of my auric field. Now, of course, I never told anybody about the terrible situation that my sister was in, because I didn't want her to be thought of badly by the family. So anyway, all this stuff, and I threw all her drugs away. I took them down the sink, and a major thing happened, and police were involved, and court and everything, and she actually got sort of like away. I packed up and she packed up, and we moved to get away, and she was out of it, she wasn't affected by any of it, and nothing came down on her. Anyway, so we've moved, and then the next thing that happened was I had that demon dream I was telling you. I was, I'll forget, it's like paralyzed, and the demon grabbed me like this and whoosh, trying to strangle me and shut my mouth when I was in a dream trying to get this lady to come into the light. And it's the first time I had that experience, and thankfully the last, but it wasn't the last experience with having to deal with demonic energies and witchcraft. So the Reiki master was this witch, and so was my sister, the two of them. And he was quite powerful as well, so I think it's good that I learned from really powerful ones. Anyway, I was meditating, and I was at my sister's house, and I was under a tree, leaning against the tree, and I was talking to Great Spirit Chief Father, because back then I didn't know Lord Shiva, but I did know Great Spirit Chief Father, and I felt this almighty punch through my back, and it was terrible. It went right into my lungs. Now, that was in 2001, and I carried that energy all the way into just the other day. So just the other day, what happened was I felt this wriggling and this kind of like this, and it was the entity that was in my back trying to get out. And so I grabbed him and I cupped my hands and held him, and I said that he was to go directly to Great Spiritual Father and tell Great Spirit exactly who sent him and what his mission was supposed to be. And I asked Great Spirit to please give this little entity a good mission, something to do with the light, because you can't destroy entities. They are a living force. They are subjected to the one who did this, conjured them, and I don't dare conjure. So I send them to Great Spirit, and he can do something good with them. You know what I'm saying? Turn them to the side of good. That's the idea. Alright, so yeah, so I've lost a lot of weight. Well, I haven't lost a lot of weight. I'm just decompressing all this stuff. I can feel my ribs. Do you know how amazing this is? Every curse that is laid upon me has been lifted. And that little one that was clawing to get out, let me out. That was the last one. I didn't even know he was there. Well, I did. He's been there all the time, but I didn't realize. I don't know what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, there are people that use black magic on you, and there will be people that have created a connection in some way to you. It could be a photograph if you don't know them and they don't know you. Now, I want to talk about this Reiki master guy. So, what happened was, my Nana had given me her budgies, and there was about, I think 12, and I had quite a big aviary for them, and they were underneath the stairs outside, and you walked up the stairs and into this house that I was in. And the first time he came, my children had just gone to school, and I went to make him a cup of tea. I didn't think anything bad about this person. He was a Reiki master, knew stuff that I didn't know, and talked, like a light worker. But anyway, the milk curdled, and I was like, oh my god, that's really strange. And I had more milk, so I went and just grabbed more milk. Now, the second time he came, again, the milk curdled, and it was fresh, and I'd just made the kids breakfast and stuff, and I was like, what? And I said to him, I'll just run off to the shop and grab some more milk. I ran down my stairs past the birds, and every bird was dead. They were all dead. I ran to the shop, I got the milk, I came back, and I was like, oh my god, all the birds have died. Nana's going to be so upset with me, blah, 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 blah. And you know what? It just didn't mean anything to him. He wasn't even curious. And that's really something that struck me, and it stayed with me. Okay, moving on. I'm whispering because my neighbour's just gone into their shed next door to mine. Now, of course, there was a lot of things, and there's this thing that my sister used to do, and she called it, I don't know what she called it, but she said it's like winding out, rolling out a yarn of wool, and you roll it out, and it rolls out, and it can connect to you. So she was able to do a lot of bad things that way, but I didn't know she was bad at the time, okay? And on, and the worst thing she did was she tried to kill my youngest daughter, and she sent a terrible, terrible dark force. It came up my street. I sensed it. I can almost see it. And the man across the road died. The lady 2 houses up died, and my daughter nearly died. My daughter was only 7 at the time. Now, she died and she came back to life, okay? It's a very traumatic experience. I was screaming, and she was in the hospital, and she was having seizures, and she'd have a seizure that these hands were reaching for through a wall and trying to grab her. She had a dream that death came to show her how many ways that he could kill me. He could kill me with a rock, he could kill me with a spider, he could kill me in a car accident, just all this stuff, and my daughter would have a seizure. Now, so she was in the hospital, and we were trying to work out what was causing the thing. She was allergic to foods. She was the prem baby that probably everybody has cursed in my family for no reason. She's a beautiful child. She's full of laughter. Now, my sister, I was in with the pediatrician, and my sister went to my daughter and gave her this muesli bar from the vending machine, full of all the things that were poisonous to her. And when I came out with the pediatrician, we both stepped out from this side room that we were in. Oh my God, I rushed over and I grabbed it, and I said to my sister, "What are you doing?" And she was like, "Well, she's at the hospital. They'll be able to figure it out." And that nearly ended my child's life. She was actually sent home to die. She was grey. And it was a very traumatic month. And I'll tell that story another time because it's quite dramatic. But anyway, Jesus, of course, she knew she was dying, my daughter, and she said, "Mummy, I'm so tired." And so I put her to bed, and I was just too afraid to be there, so I ran outside. And when she shut her eyes, she said, "Jesus, I think I'm dying." And I ran outside, and I looked up at the sky, and I was like, "You better do something, and you better fucking do it now." And he did. The gods all came through, and my daughter started sneezing. And she sneezed, and it warmed up her body, and she came back to life. But 1 year later, exact same date, she collapsed. And then the next year after that, she collapsed, and she hurt herself badly. She fell, and she just went straight down. She was getting her breakfast. The cupboard was open, and she hit her head on that. The year after that, she fainted. Okay? And then it starts to get better. Now my baby she's able to leave her body. So she will collapse, she'll leave her body, she's fully conscious, and she'll walk off and do something, and then she'll look back and she'll be like, "Oh my God, it's my body," and she'll go back into her body. Okay, so I'm moving on from that, but we came to live in this house, and when I was moving in, the first thing that I had these photos of my family in this, and I put the photos up onto the mantelpiece, and the photo of me and my sister fell and smashed, and all the glass smashed, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's not a good omen." The moving truck that I moved into this house with, I parked it like this, and I parked it out the front, and the cable that went power from the house to the power line was sort of loose like this, and when I backed up the truck, it snapped and it fell, and it was live, and it wrapped itself onto this fence in between the two properties, this chicken wire fence. I had to run around making all these phone calls, trying to told the kids, "Stay inside," and tried to I had no phone connected yet, and this is in the old days, no mobiles, and tried to get the services to come and do the job and all this sort of stuff. Okay, cool. So that happened. Now, then I heard the electricity run across the roof of the truck when I was in it as well, and I didn't know what it was, and luckily it flicked itself and stuck onto that chicken wire, because I stepped out onto the ground. I was like, "What is that?" And I could have died, but I didn't. Now, the next freaky thing that happened was, it was my jug, and And I think it was something like I'd left the water in the sink and the sink was overrunning. I think that's what it is. Anyway, I was working at the front and I came inside and I was ready to step. The floor was wet and I was sort of just going to step in, but then I felt the electricity. It was like a wall of electricity. I could just feel it zzz. And I was like, oh my God, what the? And the water level on the floor, and something to do with the jug. I can't quite figure it out now, but everything was electrified. And if I'd stood in that water, I would have been dead. But I was at the back porch, so I pulled out the fuses and everything shut down. You just felt the electricity just drop. Also, when I was at that house, I didn't know what it was, but I learned now that those are guardian angels. So there was like, it was pouring with rain, and even though it was, there was like these big plate areas, circles on the concrete that weren't getting wet. And I think there was 3 of them or 4 of them. And my oldest daughter, she was living in the shed and her friends were there and stuff, and I was on the back veranda having a cigarette, and they'd come out and we were talking to each other. It's sort of just like a footpath in between. And one of the girls was like, "Mrs. Jasmine's mum, how come the rain's not getting in those circles?" I was like, "Well, that's very wet." And so I just went down and I stepped in them. And when I stepped in them, then the rain started to fall there. I didn't feel anything. I was like, oh, that's so strange. It was so strange that I looked up a guy who does metaphysics. I forget his name now. Kevin Reed. Now, I looked up this guy who was psychic, and I went to his house to explain what was going on at my house and if he knew what it was, but no, he didn't. And I got into a little bit of energy work and stuff because of my association with him, and learned a lot of things about myself. Now, moving on, let's see. Now, there's something about the demons that I want to say. Oh, dreams. I was having massive demon dreams. So in the dream, I'd walk into a town and I'd see where the demons are, and I'd go to that place and I'd have these weapons to kill demons. I'd save a lot of children. There'd be children in cupboards, children in boxes, children hidden in all sorts of places. Like a couch, and then the inside of the covers of the couch, all these children and stuff like that. And this is a long time ago, 2001. And there was like a literal battle going on in my sleep. I was waking up exhausted from these demon wars, and I was having them over and over again quite a lot. One of them was I was on a train. It was sort of in the past, I think. It was like an old train, and the train was going so fast, and then it started to derail it just like this. And as soon as it derailed, I knew that it was demons. This is in my dream. And I went running through the carriages of the train. I saw all these children, and I was like, come on, let's go, let's go. And I was grabbing all these children, and the demons started to slowly come through, and I always have a weapon, and I had this weapon, and I was able to like get these demons. I would fight them even with the butt of my rifle thing, like psh. I was the most violent I've ever been in my life in those demon dreams. And I'd wake up terribly exhausted. Anyway, as time goes on, and of course, for some reason, oh yeah, that's right, me and my sister stopped talking because she tried to kill my child. And the demon stuff sort of stopped then as well, interestingly. So yeah, so that's that. I haven't really had any demons ever, only associated with her. That's the only experience. And the time that I was paralyzed, I was actually sleeping in her house. Now, moving on to black magic. These curses, some of them have been laid on you. As soon as you were born, you were cursed. They didn't like you or something. I don't know. Whatever it was. Now, and then on a side, look, I'm saying this, full moon, people are going to try to do witch shit, and you are going to protect yourself. You are going to call upon your God, Lord Jesus, the ones that protect and save you, to cover you in their shields of protection, because you need extra shielding. Just your shield is only one shield. That if you have 20 shields, you know what I'm saying? It's very important, because witches have gone loose. They are literally gone woo-woo crazy, okay? And it's because everything's coming back onto them, and so they're going to really try to whack it out this full moon. And you're not going to get touched, because you're going to pull all your protection on you. Now, and there's something else I wanted to say about these fucking witches. I can't remember what it is all of a sudden. I was just going to say, it's an odd thing, but this woman was talking to me, and she was saying, I'm friends with her brother, and she was saying, I'm going to ask for my money of the house. So what happened is, Mum and Dad split up, and Dad has a house and Mum has a house. She lives with Mum, and he lived with Dad until his dad died. But he still lives in the house, but the house is for all the children. You know what I'm saying? The will is divided, and she wants her share. And I was like, I hope my friend can buy you out. And oh shit, he won't be able to do that. I was like, oh, well, why is it that you want the money? Are you going to move? No, I'm not going to move, but I deserve the money. It's my money, so I'm going to take it. I was like, okay. So anyway, when I thought about that later, I was like, she wants to put her brother into some sort of a poverty, or make it so that he can't afford the house or something. For what? Why would you make somebody else suffer for no reason? You've got a home, and it's with your mum. It's not, you don't own it, but it's not like you're going to go and buy another house and you have to have it. So why are you trying to cause discomfort or stress in someone's life? Now, I want you to think about that. I want you to think about these people, and I want you to realize that they have a dark energy. The agents of the darkness uses them. They are a recycled soul from a holding center, which I'm not sure exactly where that is, but I'm going to try. And they don't come from high above. They're not ancient. Okay, they are probably medieval, but they're not ancient. And there are a bunch of souls who turned to the darkness. And we're going to send them into the light, which is the sun. And the sun is going to deal with that, all right? To the sun, to the sun. They all must go to the sun. Every demon and all they've done, to the sun, to the sun. Now I love you. Oh, I love me. But I send my thoughts of protection over you. Get your power back. Now, luckily, I've just been assigned for, my assignments just moved up a level. I got a dream last night. So I am sharing this message because I want you to know that black magic is real, demons are real, and you're not to mess with them, but you are to ask your gods to deal with the situation. We are in heavy spiritual warfare right now, and it's time for us to take the leading hand. All right, we're going to take the leading ground. Okay, we're going to clear the energy that has been contaminating our beautiful realm of paradise. I love you all. Oh, I love me. I'm not sending you my love either. I am sending you thoughts of well-being and strength. Ka kite. Stay strong.